In this segment, we're going to start off with using some of the most basically shaped selection tools, the rectangular and oval selection tool. In the toolbar, they're called the rectangular marquee tool and the elliptical marquee tool. So here we go. And the things that I'm going to cover now I kind of want to talk about some universal aspect of selection tools like select, deselect, add to a selection, take away from a selection, how layers and selected layers work with selected inverted selection, and things like that. So let's drag Photoshop into the picture and get it nice and situated. Give it a little bit more room down here. And here we go. So up here in the toolbar, here is my rectangular marquee tool. And if I hold down on it, I can see my elliptical marquee tool. Then they have these single row marquee tools, which I think in 20 years I've used each one of these like maybe once or twice. So whatever. So okay, here we go. Basic selection. All I do is select a tool. I come here. There you go. Selection is made. And well, what does it mean to select? Notice that now that I've made the selection, I get a little white arrow tool. If I drag out here, it goes back to the crosshair. Over here, the selection area is selected, so I can actually drag the selection around to decide what area I want to select. Or I can click away to deselect and go down here and maybe just select this couple, click away, deselect. Maybe I only want this lamp post over here. It's just all about selection. So, and to show you what selection does, well, I can select something, go to the move tool, and notice when I hover over the object, now there's a black arrow instead of the white selection tool arrow. So once these people are selected, I can drag them around. Drag them over here, drag them over there. Now the bad thing, so to speak, is if I deselect, they are now in that layer. They're in the layer. Which makes it a little difficult to move them around anymore. So what you might want to do, here's the layers panel. Here's my handy dandy history panel. This is the beauty of the history panel. I might just go back in time. And if you ever go all the way up here, that takes you back to square one when you open the image. So what I might do is I might select the couple here. And then if I copy them, and then if I just paste them, let's take a look in the layers panel. When you copy and paste, it automatically puts them in their own layer. Thus, if I hide this layer, you can see them there all by their lonesome. Thus, if I take the move tool, well then I can drag them around and put them somewhere else. Another wonderful keystroke I like is the Alt drag methodology. If I hold the Alt key down and drag an object, it duplicates the object. I just love it. I'm holding the Alt key down and just dragging, and look at all of these additional layers that have been made. But I'm going to go back into my wonderful history panel and go back to square one. Now, so if I make a selection here and I don't like the selection, of course I can drag it around. What I can do, I can go to the Select drop-down menu and go to Transform Selection to change the width and height of my selected area. So if I go to Transform Selection, I can make it wider or taller, and just like in Free Transform, I can rotate my selection. I hit Enter on the keyboard, and then I can move my selection around. Let's use our handy-dandy history panel to go back in time. So once I get my selection situated, I could actually just copy my selection and go into a different image, and then I can paste the selection in that different image. And there you go. If I take my move tool, then I can drag my image around in my image. And now, what I'm going to tell you now, I think is important. And this is called inverting a selection. Like I got these two little people down here. I'm going to select them. I'm in a totally different image, and these are from me just messing around. Watch me trash these layers that I don't want. Just drag them to the trash. But I want to keep these people right here. I could just copy and paste them. But on the other hand, if I invert the selection, it's going to deselect these people, and it's going to select everything outside of them in this layer. So if I go select inverse, notice the marching ants going all the way around the outsides of the image. And then if I hit delete, well, everything in that layer is gone. And because these people aren't selected, because I inverted the selection, everything outside of that area was selected. So I deleted them. And if I deselect by coming over here and clicking, now the lovely couple is out there on their own, and I can drag this little piece around like this. So let's go back to the boardwalk over here. One thing that you can do to any selection and with any group of selection tools is you can add to and take away from a selection. So let's say I select this area here. If I want to add to the selection, if I hold the shift key down, you'll see a little plus sign by the crosshair. And I can do that. I'm just holding the shift key down, and I'm adding all these weird little shapes to my selected area. And to get rid of a portion of the selection, I hold the Alt key down, and look at the little negative. And I can go into the middle of this little area right here, and notice, look at that. Is that cool? Alt to take away, Shift to add. And if I copy this selected area right here, then I can go into another image, and I'm going to trash. I'll keep the lovely couple. What the heck? And I'm going to paste this in, and there you go. My little weird shape in its own layer. And let's move the lovely couple to the top in our layers panel. We can drag them around and put them right here. There you go. They're the basic ins and outs of the all selection tools actually, but select, deselect, invert the selection, add to a selection, take away from a selection. Something else I must say is I'm in the layers panel now, and this is very important. I'm going to make a selection. Well, yeah, I've made a selection. This is extremely important, but what I've done is I've made my selection in layer 3. And if I hide these layers by poking them in the eye, well, there's nothing there. Okay, so let's show this. If I go to layer 0, well, now there's cows down there. So now if I go to the move tool, I'm actually in layer 3. And when I drag stuff, I'm dragging the stuff in layer 3. So, and then I'm going to click on layer 4. Well, now the selection is in layer 4. This is going to be a little tricky, but now look at the blue thing moving because that selection was in layer 4. So when you make a selection, you have to make sure that the layer that you want to affect is selected, because the selection is on the selection layer no matter where your selection originates. So there's a introduction to the ins and out of selection tools, and we'll be back with our next segment.